If you love scoring amazing hotel deals, you've got to use Hotel Tonight. I've used them. I love them. Forget scrolling through never-ending list of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at cool hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you could book in advance, not just at the last minute. It's perfect for spontaneous weekend getaways, 3-day weekends, staycations, road trips, business trips, booking a place with a pool, and more. Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. To start scoring amazing deals at incredible hotels, go to HotelTonight.com or download the app right now.
Brought to you by Scott's. Your lawn took a beating this summer, but with one more feeding this fall with Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard, your grass will be greener, stronger, and more resilient both now and next spring. It's the perfect time. Pick up a bag today.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
The single greatest gift that Belichick has given Tom Brady is that he always finds little things to keep him young. And if you look at the numbers Tom Brady put up, go look at Tom Brady's numbers every year and then go look at what it looked like when he had Randy Moss, the only time he's had a receiver, and now he's got one again. Every time they didn't waste any time getting to the front of that Josh Gordon line as soon as they saw, oh, wait, look, Jacksonville's caught us. Jacksonville caught us. They should have beat us last year in the playoffs. They beat us at home, and we had nothing for their defense because our receivers and all that 3-yard crap is you need to break Jacksonville with the way Pittsburgh does with 40-yard plays.
They beat them and beat them good and did so without Leonard Fournette. Think about that. Without Fournette, I mean, they beat them.
They don't need offense. They just need their offense not to be a disaster.
And now, the next time they play, if there is a next time, they're going up against a receiving core that'll have Edelman back and now Josh Gordon.
He is a monster, and there is no predicting what's next for him. Because if he goes 1,500 yards, you wouldn't be surprised at all, and if he never plays it down for them, you would not be surprised at all. And it's weird because the Patriots, I don't understand how the Patriots get to the front of that line with a 5th-round pick. How does the rest of the league even allow that? You should be trying to get in the Josh Gordon game just to stash him on your roster to keep him away from them.
I can't believe the Jets didn't do that, to be honest with you. Just offer a 4th-round pick.
No, but the Jets aren't close. Any team that's close, you know that team's going to be there at the end. You can't allow them to get the game breaker who's going to make their quarterback younger. You can't allow it.
Right.
If you're the league, how long must you be dominated by this team in a salary cap sport that is the only team that makes it to the top and stays there? And then you allow this for a 5th-round pick. The entire league sits there because they're either afraid of the lack of reliability. I'm telling you, if you're Jacksonville, you go after Josh Gordon and you don't even take the 53rd spot on your roster. Put him there just so the Patriots don't get him.
So you're saying if you're one of those teams in the AFC that feel like you have a shot at beating the Patriots, making it to the Super Bowl, whether it's Jacksonville, whether it's the Cincinnati Bengals or the Dolphins, you would just get them and stash them away, right?
Stugotz, the only other time a talent like this has been available in the discount bin, this team took him and went damn near undefeated.
Right.
You can't find guys like this in the discount bin.
No.
He is the best receiver they've had not named Randy Moss in the history of their franchise.
Right. They made some mistakes. So I understand what you're saying, and you're right, but they made some mistakes, too. Hainsworth was a big mistake for the Patriots.
No, that's fine. What I'm saying is they're taking a giant home run swing, and if it's a mistake, what's the mistake really? Like, that's the thing. There's no real risk in the mistake. Those are the best rewards to grab in sports, the ones that come with no real risk. But more to the point, Belichick has figured out a market inefficiency. The league is scared of this guy because if there's a character risk, it's not you might end up in jail. It's you're not reliable. Look at the reaction to Vontae Davis in that locker room. A guy's body hurts. He quit his job. People do it every day all around America. The football locker room behaved like a soldier on the front lines had run into the shadows away from the fight. Those people in that sport view nothing more as a crime, nothing more of a crime than you're unreliable.
He's absolutely right when he says that, Stugotz, because look, this is obviously a resume thing for Josh Gordon. And when you just hold it up, he hurt his hamstring in a promotional shoot, and you look at it that way compared to his previous offenses, that doesn't really add up. But look, this is a team that's had trouble trusting this guy. They game planned for this game against New Orleans with all hopes that he'd be available for this game. And then the night before, he's doing a promotional shoot at the Friday before he flies out, and all of a sudden you don't have him available. Why? Because another lapse in Josh Gordon's judgment. That's one mistake too many for a guy that only had one strike left.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. That is stupid, okay? The idea that you got rid of your receiver because he was at a promotional shoot on Friday night.
That's the thing that makes you get rid of him?
This is happening with Odell Beckham now in New York, because Odell Beckham has teamed up with LeBron James, and he's doing something on Facebook that the team can't be happy about. He's just teamed with the uninterrupted, and he's doing some stuff, and I am more OBJ, and it's a 16-part series and a new media, which LeBron is trying to create, because LeBron is tired of being covered the way that he's covered, and so he's just going to create his own media. That's what he's decided. I'm going to give you access to these guys. I'm going to empower someone like OBJ. And now he's on social media doing stuff that Gettleman and who the hell's the coach of the Giants now? Who's
Pat Shurmur?
Pat Shurmur. Yeah. Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur and Gettleman. You know that they have no connection points whatsoever with OBJ. And Mike, I'm telling you, there's a tension across sports with this, and basketball's better at it than anybody. You have to let your stars have power. And I get it. You don't want unreliable guy at a photo shoot, and certainly you don't want him hurting himself at a photo shoot, a promotional thing on a Friday. But at this point, these guys have so much power, and they've got so much, they could take over your organization when you bank on them, the way that Josh Gordon has for several seasons. With all Josh Gordon has done to put him on zero tolerance and get rid of him for that, to me, you get rid of Josh Gordon since you've supported him. This is not unlike the family that has a drug problem. You keep supporting the son or the daughter. You keep supporting the son or the daughter until the son or the daughter grabs you by the wrist, and now you're going into the hole with the son or the daughter.
But it's not just about, I understand the shoot sounds stupid, but it's lying to the team about the shoot. They were counting on him. They've been counting on him for 6 years, and time after time he lets them down. And this is yet another example. We're counting on you to help us win a football game on Sunday against New Orleans. You're not available to us, and you're lying to us about what happened. Huh? That's what this is here. It's not just a photo shoot.
So we send you to the Patriots for a 5th-round pick?
That's right. See, that's the thing. The thing about it is, okay, so then you don't like your bad-behaving player. That's fine. Belichick will win with him then.
Right. And like they rewarded him, to be honest with you, Mike. They sent him to the Patriots.
I understand. They weren't going to bring back Josh Gordon. He's a restricted free agent. They're paying him peanuts right now. You're going to let him walk and get nothing? A 5th-round draft pick? Hell, New England's not going to be able to draft the next Tom Brady with his 5th-round draft pick now.
Mike,
you're welcome, league.
My better question is, I think it's a better question. If you're the rest of the league, how do you allow this to happen? There is one team in the sport that you cannot allow that guy to go to, and the entire league allowed the Patriots to go to the front of the line with a 5th-round pick. How? This guy is as talented as any receiver to ever catch footballs. And you guys can all say, he's overrated. With Brandon Weeden in 14 games, he led the league in rushing. And Stugotz told you yesterday, put up a better season than who was it? Put up a 1,600-yard season.
Receiving,
that's a fun.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Rushing. In 14 games, with mostly Brandon Weeden as his quarterback in 2013, Josh Gordon amassed more receiving yards in 14 games than Terrell Owens or Randy Moss had ever done in 16 games in their career.
According to whom?
Mike Florio on the Part of My Take podcast.
Been listening to that a lot. You're very upset about this. I mean, you seem very upset. I haven't heard you this passionate, this upset in a long time.
I'm not upset about it. I just think it's weird. I think it's weird that the people in this league that we continue to cite as leaders and visionaries and executives who can see things, that they consistently get outsmarted by this organization that doesn't even have to do much to outsmart it, because all of us knew the moment Josh Gordon becomes available, of course they're going to get the fountain of youth for Tom Brady. Of course.
Surprised the Rams didn't go after him, or maybe they did, and he ended up with the Patriots.
Well, the Ian Rappaport report that the Patriots were interested sort of seemed like a signal to the rest of the league. Hey, we're going to trade him to the AFC. If you have a window that you can win a Super Bowl right now, get in on this. And teams pass. I love that we just all assume that the Patriots are just going to fix all of Josh Gordon's problems, and he's just going to be a Pro Bowler, because that's a reputation.
No, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe they don't. But it doesn't matter if they don't. It doesn't matter at all. Right? If they don't.
If they don't, it doesn't matter. It costs them a 5th-round pick.
You think he's going to affect the culture there in any way?
I mean, no, he's, from what I know about Josh Gordon, I heard Andrew Hawkins on the Tomahawk podcast, and Josh Gordon's a super...
You're listening to a lot of crap.
Get a life, man.
Crap.
Don Le Batard.
AB, yeah, I see y'all, cuz. Big dog, I got pups bigger than Air Bud. Are you aware, Bud, why I'm not at practice? I'm going to need 17 because 26 is a savage.
Stugotz.
They say the franchise should be enough. Pockets of Professor Clump. Let me get back to my day. I can't keep showing Buddy love.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Greg Cody would normally be giving you Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts, but he's not here.
He's been suspended. He's been sent away. Stugotz likes to say fired. He has not yet been fired. There's a whole human resources thing that you got to go through to fire somebody. You can't just take an old white guy and fire him. You got to go through a whole thing in order to fire him.
The good news is Michael Smith will be helping us out, delivering Straight Talk a little bit later in the show.
Okay, so we will get Straight Talk from Michael Smith later in the show. We also have a useless sound montage for you from Guillermo. This is a fight I've been fighting for a long time as Dan Quixote. I will lose it. I will go to the grave fighting it. My fist will shake and I will lose. You guys will always put your moralities in sports, and you will always tell me that you don't want Josh Gordon on your team right up until your team signs him, and then you will convince yourself that you'll be just fine. That's the way that move works. You're like, I would never put him on my team. Locker room cancer, your team signs him. Oh, I'm so delighted, and then you buy a jersey. And so what's happening here with Josh Gordon is interesting because people are yelling at me on the text. Dan, you don't know this is a brilliant move. You don't know it's going to work out. Character, blah, 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 blah. Here's why it's the right move. If he works out for the Patriots, they've got one of the best talents in the history of the sport. I know he hasn't played very much in the last 4 years. I know that his best season is 4 years ago, and it was with Brandon Weeden leading the league in receiving. There is the possibility that he's not that good anymore when he hasn't played that much.
Dan realizes this is a big if. But the big if cost them nothing.
But here's how nothing it cost them, because even if you think a 5th-round pick is some kind of valuable, which I don't, if he doesn't play 10 games for him, you've just traded a 5th-round pick for a 7th-round pick. Like, there's no risk here for the Patriots. None. I don't understand how that can be the best offer. I really don't. It's not like the Warriors sitting here and they've got salary cap room and a DeMarcus Cousins is injured and he chooses them because he doesn't have any other offers. How do you not parlay an interest from the Patriots into a better offer than that? So does someone have an explanation for me on that? Because I'm not going to believe that the Browns wanted to trade him to the Patriots. There has to be some sort of explanation for how the league let this happen.
So you take that offer if you're the Browns and you call every other team and say, hey, Belichick
this is
just
what I
called
got.
Me. Right. Unless Belichick did one of these. Hey, I'm not hanging up this phone without an answer.
No, but this is what
he might have done one of those.
This is what Mike does, though. Mike was sitting here as this was happening. Mike thought it was a smokescreen. He thought his team was just sending out Patriots to raise the price, but nope. No, that's the price. The price is nothing.
That was the best price, but it's nothing to us. I think we need to recalibrate what we think of value when it comes to draft picks, because the days of Lamar Gordon going for a second-round draft pick are gone in the NFL. A fifth-round draft pick for a guy who's going to be a restricted free agent who's going to command millions more if he does everything the right way in that organization. This is a loaner deal. Teams don't do that in the NFL nowadays.
Mike, with this talent, you do it. And Jimmy Johnson used to say, I poop fifth-round picks. I come out of the bathroom, and that's where I leave the fifth-round picks. Like but
that was 25 years ago.
Okay, all right,
Jimmy
fine.
Johnson.
It's fine, 25 years ago. But my bad. You know what? My bad. 25 years ago. It's Bill Belichick doing something. He's doing the wrong thing because of how valuable a fifth-round pick is. My bad.
I'm just saying, teams aren't doing that nowadays. It's changed in the NFL.
I know it has changed, and I don't care how much they value their fifth-round picks, because it does. If you hit in the fifth round, you've got value in contract. I get it.
Where'd they get Brady?
I understand that. Brady's the outlier. The reason that you're drafting in the first round is because these people who don't have any great gift for selecting players increase the odds of selecting them correctly by getting higher picks. Like when you're terrible at the job up there, they legislate it so you get better at it. Because by removing the margin for error, by allowing you to draft higher, because the higher you draft in this subjective, not a science thing, the more likely you are to not miss.
I want to be clear. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm aligned with you on this. And when you have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback and a 66-year-old head coach that are very clearly at the end of their window, that seems to be irrefutable. You got to make this move.
You guys are look at what just happened here. There is the possibility that for a fifth-round pick, the New England Patriots just got someone that they're going to put at the top of their receiving rotation who has the possibility of being better than either Edelman or Gronk.
That's pretty amazing. Yep, and frustrating.
There are so few human beings that you can go get. Man, they did it with Brandon Cooks. They rented him for a year. They let him go as soon as his contract got expensive because they're just like, we'll take deep threat. And on top of that, they got Philip Dorsett running around. I know he doesn't scare any of you, but he's faster than just about anybody in the league.
Well, he's done now. So, I mean, Edelman's back. Josh Gordon's, a Patriot, and they got Chris Hogan. So, goodbye to Philip Dorsett. I'm checking out the best fifth-round picks of all time.
I mean, look, John Dorsey's a guy that selected Tyreek Hill with a fifth-round pick. He's a guy that just picked Antonio Callaway. Looks like a player, and he had all these red flags the way that Tyreek Hill had, and he got him in the fourth-round draft pick. He's a guy that gets character concerns, so he's shipping one off for a fifth-round pick and will likely draft another.
Dan Le Batard.
If Mission Impossible's on your television, you're going to watch it for a few minutes. Like, they're all entertaining, although I would say the one that was bad was the one where there were faces being peeled off. I thought that
that's everyone. That's everyone.
Yeah,
if you apply that rule... Yeah. Then it's all of them.
The one where it was, but the one where
the Philip Seymour Hoffman one?
The one where everybody was pulling off of their
Are you out of your mind? Not a single bad moment in any of those movies. Not one.
Stugotz.
You do not have a good movie if you have a movie in which your face is being peeled off as a plot twist.
Did you not like The Mask?
Did you not like The Mask?
That was when Swing was coming back.
Did you not like The Mask?
Do you not like Tex Avery?
Do you not like Cameron Diaz?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Does Ryan Fitzpatrick look like the fiddle player in a bluegrass band called Catfish Joe's Truck Stop? Ryan Fitzpatrick's not going to give that job back, is he?
Nope. Deshaun Jackson said you can't bench the hot hand. You got to keep him out there. I mean, Deshaun Jackson's having one hell of a season.
No one's happier than Deshaun Jackson out there. He is fine with Jameis Winston never playing again.
Oh, you want to wear my ice? Yeah, you can wear my ice. Here's your ice pack. No, keep it. Keep it. You stay there.
If Deshaun had the same stats, but the Bucs were 0-2, he'd still be saying the same thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Deshaun is happy because he disappeared for a year under Jameis. Deshaun's always open. He's always open. He's been open for, put it on the poll, Guillermo. Has Deshaun Jackson been open for 12 years? So, before we get to Guillermo's useless sound, it's very popular. It's just everybody in football saying nothing, and it's every week. I feel for him because it is quite the suffering. Stugotz has spent the entire break beating me down with Richard Sherman was drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah, he's good.
Who else?
Cole from the Philadelphia Eagles, Trent Cole. pass rusher, edge rusher, 5th-round pick.
That's the argument you're making?
Trent Cole's a very good player.
I understand, but he's such a good player you didn't know his first name when you said it.
Zach Thomas, 5th-round pick. Cam Chancellor, a 5th-round pick.
And this is what I would say to you. When the Eagles think they're a player away, they trade a 4th-round pick for Jay Ajayi. And the Patriots are always a player away. and they just got one.
Jay Ajayi, 5th-round pick. How about that?
So he was a 5th-round pick, and then they traded him for a 4th-round pick. You guys, this is one of my favorite things in the world is Joe Sports Fan protecting his 5th-round pick.
I would have given up as a Jet fan, my 5th-round pick for the remainder of time for Josh Gordon.
That's right. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Put it on the poll. Would you be okay with your team giving up its 5th-round pick for the remainder of time for a number 1 receiver? Because I'm with Stugotz on this. That is not useless sound. This, however, is, Guillermo, how do you feel about what you did here? How do you feel? You got swallowed by hours and hours of terrible press conference.
Yes, that's true. I feel relieved that it's over.
Okay, who's the star of this one? We'll always laugh. Is Andrew Luck? Who's vying for Chuck Pagano's spot? Who's vying for the spot of Ben McAdoo?
Right now, Andrew Luck is in the driver's seat, I'd say, as the star of the useless sound montage this year. But we have some other people that are in here.
Give me some other competitors to Andrew Luck's throne.
Well, Tomlin's always great, obviously, as you know, and Patty Mahomes, I'm telling you.
Really?
Patty Mahomes once in the game, once in the useless sound game?
Sound montage,
all right. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, there's so much useless sound, we can no longer do this on Mondays because Guillermo has to spend Sunday and Monday in this dungeon where he's slicing and dicing through cliches and awfully mundane sports commentary.
I feel 2 games in. I feel like I've come a long way.
Each and every week he's going to improve.
What were my emotions? I don't know what to feel after a tie.
Well, no, I know what to say. It's just I don't want to lose any more money.
I do think that that's something that gets the monkey off everyone's back a little bit.
And a couple calls here and there that I bungled up.
We got plenty of work to do and lots of play.
Some weeks you're hot, some weeks you're not.
This is a very tough team. These guys fight. They'll play all the way to the end. They're in great shape. They work hard. At the end of the game, we were running.
We 2-0. Yeah, we fresh. 2-0.
We have to keep that attitude.
All reps are valuable, especially this time of year.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. This one is just as tough as last week's.
It does and it doesn't. So it's tricky right there.
Guys battle, boy, I tell you. One thing I know about this team, they're going to give me everything they have.
I'm not surprised by anything. We just got to get better.
Sam Darnold is going to have throw-up-on-your-boots type moments. Mahomes is going to have throw-up-on-your-boots type moments.
I did. I overthrew Tyreek, which I didn't know was possible.
Man, what a great job they did keeping us sort of, in the driver's seat. It felt like, and then when we needed to, we put a drive together and got points.
You don't have to be a genius in this league to figure out. It's hard to make a first down.
We're not playing well in the kicking game. We've missed a couple kicks here in recent weeks. We're not punting with varsity-like consistency.
There's going to be some ups and downs. There always is. There still is in year 15.
I can't remember the time I've seen a defense play that complete from whistle to whistle, from first quarter to the fourth quarter.
Everybody has to look at themselves and say, what can I do to make this team better?
These are tremendous football players, tough as nails.
There's got to be hindsight, 50-50, all that stuff.
And Ryan Hewitt playing for his first game, sort of cool for me. The last time I played with him was the Fiesta Bowl after the 2011 season.
Well, we didn't win, so nobody played well, and nobody coached well.
It's a lot of little things, but little things all add up.
Is any of that yours, or is
the chest there is mine?
I told him after the game that he's a great effing player, and that I hate him.
Everybody was gassed. all 4 sides of the ball. Their guys, our guys, everybody's guys.
I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush. I don't know what's going on outside the stadiums that we're in from that perspective.
The journey that we own is not a straight path. It's a forest. So we're not worried about it.
What do I want for my birthday this year?
The perfect birthday present.
A tough, hard practice where I get better and sharpen the edge of this football team, I guess.
Of course. Are you surprised at all? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Are you surprised at all that what Andrew Luck wants for his birthday is a good, tough practice? Because of course it is.
How about hindsight 50-50 from John Gruden?
That's John Gruden. That's $100 million a year. That's even better in the booth than it is. That's more valuable. Hindsight is 50-50 is more valuable in the booth than it is on the sideline.
Look, I don't dance now. I make money moves.
I love that Matt Patricia is 0-2 and he's saying we were running at the end of the game.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters, Coach.
How about you, Jackson? They give me everything they have except a win, you.
That's right. That's right. They give you one win in going on 3 seasons now.
The Browns haven't won on a Sunday in over 1,000 days.
Don Le Batard.
No, facts and info.
Ripe cranberries will bounce like rubber balls.
What?
Okay. I don't think that is an answer to anything that I was asking, but okay. Very good. So you're telling me that a ripe cranberry will bounce crazy, like if you throw it really hard, it'll ricochet all over your room.
Stugotz.
I don't believe that. That's fake news. Fake news. Sad. Fake news.
It's a fact, Dan.
A fat?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Mike, can you give me the stat of the day music, please? The short one. Michael Smith going to be in studio with us here in about 10 minutes, but give me the stat of the day music real quick.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the
From SB Nation, Pat Mahomes has thrown more touchdowns in his first 2 games this season than Trubisky has in his 14 career starts. Old 3-yard Trubisky. He's the new guy, but he's old NFL. The people winning in the first 2 weeks are the people who are playing bombs away fun football, and bombs away fun football is what you get, Stugotz, when you start making the rules so no one can hit the quarterback.
Right.
Like, that is one way to fix all that 3-yard slop we've been watching for 3 seasons as every coach becomes bubble screen guy.
Mm-hmm.
The one way to fix it is to have these guys who launch the ball all over the place and don't have very much fear of being hit hard. The quarterback, why would the quarterback even have happy feet anymore? You're not allowed to hit him hard.
I mean,
there's still Khalil Max and Myles Garrett.
But all they're going to do is tackle you, and if they do it too aggressively, you're going to get 15 yards.
I think it's a natural reaction to have happy feet when 300-pound men are chasing you.
Understood.
Right. Penalty or not,
you run.
Penalty or not, it still hurts like hell.
If they do it incorrectly, which they will, which will help your team.
I mean, it hurts even if they do it correctly.
Understood. The job is to hurt in order for gaining ground. That's the whole job.
But you want them to stand strong in the pocket because the rules have changed?
What I'm telling you is that the rules have changed so much that we are creating eventually. Look, Matt, at some point, guys in the NBA, shooters, stopped fearing a hand in their face because they knew you weren't going to hit them in the face, even though it would hurt if they hit you in the face. At some point, shooters stopped fearing that because you weren't going to hit them in the face.
Right.
There's some insane Pat Mahomes stats. He only needs 3 touchdowns to get off to the greatest passing touchdown start in NFL history. And also, I read on ESPN Research that he's only thrown into a tight window 9% of the time. That's how wide open
they are open.
His guys are getting, be it routes or just general speed.
They were that open for Alex Smith, too, by the way. Like that, one of the things that's a damning indictment, and this is what makes it hard, Stugotz, to do some of the measurements on these quarterbacks. The most damning indictment of Jameis Winston and Alex Smith is what the guys after them did with the same receivers.
Right. I mean, Fitzpatrick, he'll revert back to being Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That is a reasonable thing to say. I'm also not sure because those Bucs guys are that kind of talented. If I tell you all of a sudden, man, that changes everything, Stugotz. I put Deshaun Jackson on your offense and say that every once in a while he can go for 60 yards. It changes how you play football. It changes how your whole team plays football.
Right, combine him with Mike Evans and O.J. Howard. Maybe you're out. Yeah.
It does, even if you're not throwing to him, because Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Jackson, they didn't have the greatest chemistry, but it opened up a lot in the middle of the field.
That is correct. That is what we were seeing. Kirk Cousins was at least partially made by Deshaun Jackson opening things up so he could keep throwing to his backs and his tight ends.
But now he's throwing deep Kirk Cousins with
because he's got
like
guys.
Thielen
Yes, because he's got skilled guys better equipped to do it.
One of them, Stephon Diggs, a 5th-round pick.
So what is your argument on the 5th-round pick that
I don't really know.
That the Patriots gave up too much? Is it really your point is just to prove me wrong with names that were good as 5th-rounders, right? Because you're naming all the ones who were good, and what's getting lost is the other 30 who weren't in that draft.
I mean, Kevin Green. How about that? Little Mike Webster, perhaps the greatest center in the history of the NFL, 5th-round pick.
Also recent.
Yeah.
That's a recent one.
Well, you want more recent? How about Rodney Harrison? He was pretty good.
Not much more recent. You got anyone more recent? Let's go. Look at your list.
Nathan Peterman.
Nathan Peterman is a 5th-round pick.
How about that? Robert Mathis. If you love scoring amazing hotel deals, you've got to use Hotel Tonight. I've used them. I love them. Forget scrolling through never-ending list of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at cool hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you could book in advance, not just at the last minute. It's perfect for spontaneous weekend getaways, 3-day weekends, staycations, road trips, business trips, booking a place with a pool, and more. Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. To start scoring amazing deals at incredible hotels, go to HotelTonight.com or download the app right now.
This broadcast is brought to you by the 13 heavy machinery operators who dug this radio station's foundation, the 53 iron workers who laid the rebar, the 28 cement workers who poured the floors, the 24 electricians, 10 elevator contractors, 23 carpenters, 9 plumbers, 20 masons, 12 glaziers, 19 mechanical contractors, and the hundreds of thousands of workers who maintain the nation's power grid and radio towers. Also, you can hear me say words like terms and conditions, limited time, or
come see Tricero Trucks at the Dome. Be there.
They're talkers and they're doers. Timberland Pro Work Apparel and Footwear. Always do, never done.
Don Le Batard.
I don't know if you actually respect Steve Aoki or not, but you came off like you didn't care for him at all.
Oh, I don't.
Stugotz.
I don't care for his music. I don't care for what he represents. I don't care about the genre. I don't care about the young people who like that genre. I think it's offensive and blasphemous that they have replaced the true musicians that do real art throughout the world. I think he's a sham stealing money, a professional thief.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and more at Progressive.com. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Christian Yelich became the first player in Major League history to hit for 2 cycles versus the same team in the same season. It's a good trade for the Marlins. The Major League worst Baltimore Orioles have tied a franchise record 107 losses in a season after their 5-0 loss versus Toronto.
And Buck Showalter's still going out to the mound angry because he's given up 9 runs in 4 innings.
Yep. Be back again next year. Guillermo, that Snowalter promotion again.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is it true that the Orioles will never actually fire Buck Showalter, no matter what happens?
He'll melt. And finally, we've been pronouncing Chrissy Teigen's name wrong this entire time. Quote, I gave up a long time ago. My last name is Teigen. Not Teigen.
Teigen.
You're the worst. Whatever.
You're so bad.
It's Teigen.
You're a professional broadcaster.
Teigen?
Do I need to run? I need to coach you during the break.
Teigen? Not Teigen.
What is Bill Belichick's real name?
Belichick.
Thank you.
That was quick. Before it's too late, make sure to get your NFL and college football tickets at Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats even has an exclusive offer for our ESPN listeners. Go to vividseats.com. Enter promo code ESPN at checkout. Get 10% off your order. Vivid Seats is the official ticket partner of ESPN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
What are you shaking your head about?
Ty-Gen, is there a J there?
Let me see.
Is it Ty-Gen?
See, I think Gen could be Jen, Mike. It could be. I'm just saying it could be. Certain words, I think, right? I mean, Michael Smith seems to agree with me.
Putting it out there phonetically.
Sure. Why not?
And it's Tegan. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care what she wants to be called. I'm calling her Tegan. I've called her Chrissy Teigen my entire life. I'm not going to stop now.
Her mama named her Clay. You going to call her Clay?
Yeah.
Well, no, her mama named him something else. Named her something else, and he's going to keep calling her what he calls her. So we're going to get to Vontae Davis in a second. Michael Smith has very strong words for Vontae Davis. He was as upset with Vontae Davis
like I played with him
as I've ever as I've seen Michael Smith upset about anything. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to the Emmys as well. Was anyone watching the Emmys? Has television changed so much that we're not watching the Emmys anymore? Do the Emmys include Netflix and Hulu and all that
Netflix
stuff? They take everything?
Yeah, tied HBO.
Yeah. I watched the monologue, and Colin Jost was very funny. I think it was Michael Che.
Yep.
Am I saying that correctly? And Colin Jost, he was saying...
No, it's Chi, actually. But
Chi? Okay. I'm going to call him Che.
I'm totally kidding.
Okay. I'm going to call him Chi or Che. But he made a very funny joke. Both of them made a funny joke saying, welcome to the thousands of people watching live here, and to the hundreds of people watching at home on their television.
There aren't that. Are the ratings way down for the Emmys? I just think the ratings are way down for almost everything except Game of Thrones, right?
Right. Except Monday Night Football.
I flip back and forth between Monday Night Football and Emmys a lot. I was waiting for Donald Glover to win. You know, I don't think he did, if I'm not mistaken. But
you're still waiting?
Still waiting. Still waiting for Atlanta to win.
I want to get to that in a second, but first, you've got Norm Macdonald going on The View. He's got a Netflix show coming out. He said some things about Louis C.K. and Roseanne, and he was saying that the victims of the Me Too movement and the Roseanne situation, that the victims didn't experience exactly what Louis C.K. did and Roseanne did. And, of course, he's now clarifying. He's saying, what about the victims? Well, the victims haven't gone through this particular event. Of course, the victims have gone through worse than that. But am I going to get a victim to phone Roseanne? Because he was telling Louis C.K. to call Roseanne. He was saying he's taken out of context. Regardless, the point being, Sean Penn has now climbed into this mix. And I just think the lesson here is, men, shut up. You've got just no place in this conversation. Just, you got no, every once in a while, someone's going to get, misreported and a woman's going to make something up. But I just don't understand Sean Penn's need to get into this conversation and give the male explanation on, victim after victim coming forth. I understand that men are worried about being falsely accused. But why do we need to hear from men on the things that are wrong about the Me Too movement?
I agree with you on hearing from men about the things that are wrong about the Me Too movement, or men when it's from a less than constructive place, when they're not helping the conversation. But the only thing I disagree with is I do think men need to be as much a part of the conversation, because women being the conversation by themselves when it comes to issues of sexual assault or gender issues, it's like that's not enough. Men need to be at the forefront of that conversation, not just cheerleaders or not just men in the conversation.
My bad. What I meant was the idea of getting in here and finding your objections to the Me Too movement. Sure. The flames are going to grab you on that one, right, because we're just waiting around for the person to say the wrong thing that we can then move toward and yell at Sean Penn.
Sure.
It doesn't seem prudent,
right,
risk versus reward, to give your opinions about how Me Too is something that you find in some way objectionable. You're never going to win this in this day.
Those opinions,
you're going to lose every time.
Well, giving those opinions, you're right. But to Michael's point, if you want to have an open dialogue and have a serious conversation about it, then I think men have to be included.
No, but wait a minute. That's not an open dialogue. That's only allowing men to speak who agree with the cause. And what I'm saying is that the men that we keep talking about are the ones who don't. Mm-hmm. Like occasionally we'll mention Terry Crews, but we're not talking about, the only time we mention men here is when Liam Neeson does what he does, or, Norm Macdonald says what he says, or
Is that, in a backward way, somewhat constructive? Because the more that men, or some men, air those feelings, the more they expose what still needs to be, fixed or repaired. Whether it's gender or another conversation, whether it's a racial conversation. Sometimes you need people to say inappropriate, oftentimes stupid, misplaced things in order to say, okay, now we can air it out. Now let's figure out how to fix this and how to knock this down.
I feel if you read this Rolling Stone story about Johnny Depp and just how incredibly lost he seems, just lost, I feel like a 30 for 30 on Sean Penn would be really good. Like you look up and he's in a boat in New Orleans helping hurricane people. He's helping a drug smuggler get out of was it a Mexican jail? El Chapo? Like what? He's sitting there like the Sean Penn 30 for 30 is going to be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Going to be very good. He's very
watch it. I'm saying if we started making those, if ESPN started making
those. It'd be a weird thing for us to start making, but yeah, I'd be in on that.
30 for 30 type thing. Yes. You don't literally mean 30 for 30. You just mean the documentary.
I don't mean behind the music either. I just mean Sean Penn, a close look at his life. Like what?
Right. I don't think 30 for 30 is the spot. I think it's something we should probably look into. I think it'd be interesting, but I could see that being on like E or something.
I was saying the equivalent of a 30 for 30.
I got it.
Okay, yes.
And
I'd be interested. Yeah, I am there for that. Tariq Hill, 5th round pick.
Vontae Davis, that was almost a fine. Michael Smith was just in here asking what is Stugotz doing? Because this is all he was doing during the break. And Michael says to him, do you believe what you're saying? What are you saying? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just listing guys who were drafted in the 5th round. That's what he's done with his work day today. He's come in here for an hour. He's searched 5th round picks and he keeps blurting 5th round picks.
Hell of a job.
Trying to make Browns fans feel better?
Yeah, I tried to make Browns fans. Listen, Dan thinks that what the Browns did was stupid. He thinks it was a dumb move. And how could the rest of the league allow the Patriots to go out and get Josh Gordon? At the very least, you should get him, stash him away so the Patriots don't get him. I agree with that, but what fun is it if we all agree with Dan? So I just got to, play the other side and give him some guys, Hall of Famers, who were drafted in the 5th round. Mike Webster, how about that?
By the Browns, though? Browns can't draft in the 1st round, player.
That's a good point.
they can't get 1st round picks.
They've been good lately, though. They've been good lately.
You also don't have to play the other side. You don't have to play the other side.
Well, then we're all just agreeing, and that's not sports radio.
Okay, but better to just do it insincerely. That is Stugotz's motto every time.
There is some legitimacy to your point, though. I mean, there is value in that draft pick. It's something that they got for Josh Gordon. Is it the best thing they could have got for Josh Gordon? That's the thing I find hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
I would say the only thing the Patriots are really good at, right, are taking draft picks, right? And they'll throw in a 5th to try to move up maybe in the 1st round. That's something that they do, I think, pretty routinely.
And the Browns may be able to do the same thing.
Right.
I mean, it clearly is the best thing they could have got for Josh Gordon. They called around the league, and they even leaked out, hey, the Patriots want him.
No, and that's when I say hard to believe, I don't mean like they took less from the Patriots. I mean, like, you mean to tell me nobody in the league could have given a 5th round pick, which will probably be higher than the Patriots' 5th round pick, to get Josh Gordon, or couldn't have come to some kind of agreement that did not involve giving back a 7th round pick if he's not active for 10 games.
Mike says this though, right? Because we have all been trained to think that way, that of course the offer they took is the best offer. But the last big trade the Patriots made was Garoppolo and them not getting the best offer. So I don't know what extenuating circumstances are here or could be here even.
How do the Patriots always have a 5th round pick? Even after they use their 5th round picks, yesterday we discussed after they use their 3 timeouts, they just get 3 more. They always have 3 timeouts, and they always have a 5th round pick. They do. I mean,
my favorite detail of all the reporting is that it would have been a 6th round pick, but the Patriots didn't have one, so it became a 5th round pick.
Oh man! And I only say it half jokingly. I'm with Dan though. You would think that the league would collude when it comes to this. They would say, you know what? We're not going to let Belichick show us how it's done again.
I was arguing that if you're Jacksonville, you just take Josh Gordon and don't play a 53rd player. Even if it's just to stash him on the bench because you don't want him in your end zone behind your secondary when the playoffs come and you can't win against the Patriots.
I'll slap you in the face with money.
Don't you think that's a good idea, Stugotz? Just 52-man roster for Jacksonville, and they just keep Josh Gordon there in case.
Yep.
Just in a bubble on the sideline.
Yep. Michael, would you give away your 5th round picks for the remainder of time to have Josh Gordon on your team? All your 5th round picks.
No, not Josh Gordon healthy with the promise that he's going to be what he was. Like for a number 1 receiver, would you give up your franchise's 5th round pick for the rest of time.
For the rest of time.
Not
his career time.
Let's
so
say
he just got 6 picks.
Let's say I give you 3 years of Josh Gordon at his peak. All your 5th round picks.
All your 5th round picks.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
so would I.
Like my man caught 1,600 yards from quarterback from what? Hoyer, Campbell. Who else?
In 14 games, by the way.
In 14 games. Whedon.
Mike, you're sitting. Mike is still here protecting his 5th. Mike is still out here protecting his 2031 Browns 5th round pick. He values the 5th round pick so much.
Well, the thing is, they use that 5th round pick every year to guess the best player available.
That's
they
right.
won't be able to do that the next 2 years because they did that this year.
Trade down in the 1st and pick up a 5th round pick again. You can get somebody else's 5th, and you really want to draft in the 5th round that bad, trade down.
Okay, so I can still get other 5th round picks. Okay. As long as I have a 5th round pick.
Like, yes or no, do you think if Belichick had a couple of off seasons ago offered Garoppolo for everybody's 5th round picks, just give me all of your 5th round picks for the rest of the time, don't you think the Browns would have been doing that?
The Browns were trying to offer that, but they wouldn't even call him.
I love that when the Browns call, it comes up as unknown number because people don't want to take it, or it's block calls. It's one of those weird calls.
That's how I would treat the Patriots.
Yeah, don't answer their calls.
The Jets get the same treatment. I'm telling you, the Jets are on record saying they wanted to offer more for Khalil Mack, and no one called them back.
Block numbers or fax machines don't work for A.J. McCarron. To set us back anyways, but I'm upset that we didn't trade for A.J. McCarron. Cursed franchise, man. What did I do?
Thursday Night Football, though, man.
Ooh. Don Le Batard.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville. Searching for my lost shaker of sand.
Stugotz.
Some people claim that there's a green person to blame.
Really?
But I know.
I'm not
Margaritaville, baby.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz, did you watch this weekend the Weather Channel's Mike Sadel struggling so mightily to stay on his feet as people behind him walked casually? Like he was bracing himself against winds very dramatically.
Yep.
And that wasn't the most shocking part. The most shocking part was that the Weather Channel doubled down on defending him, saying the grass was wet.
So he was slipping. That was some of the most, setting aside the very real, tragedy and very real circumstances of the hurricane. That was some of the funniest video of the weekend for sure.
Just to have two people so close to a guy struggling.
Where's your cameraman?
Right.
I blame the cameraman. Cameraman's got to say, "Hey guys, just stand by for 1 second. Let me get this shot." So it's at least protect your talent.
Get in on the act.
But I would argue, though, not just it. Clearly, any hurricane approaching is the peak season for the Weather Channel. Any hurricane approaching. But I'm saying some weather coverage should have won an Emmy last night. Because every year during the hurricane, Guillermo, what happened last year with the funny people behaving weird? The number of weirdos that you get who are beachside during a hurricane as these weather terrorists get on television and fake that the winds are gusting them into the ocean.
The closer the storm gets and the closer you are to the ocean at the time, the more crazies will be around you because they like to go out and surf in that thing. Last year there was a guy who said he was tying himself to a pole for some reason, and then he reassured the reporter, no, don't worry, there's plenty of safety precautions that we've gone into. But I thought you were going to talk about the Weather Channel's, graphics.
Oh, my
had the
goodness.
Floodwater, 10 feet over the woman's head.
When did that start?
I think that was new this year. I think that made its debut.
It's from all the funds they get when we're watching, when they're faking the hurricane coverage. When they're faking it, they make so much that they can afford those amazing graphics recreating a flood.
But that causes panic. Honestly, are they really helping or are they hurting at a certain point? Because I was watching and I'm nowhere near North Carolina and I'm getting bags of water and rice and stuff and I'm preparing for a flood because if the water's 10 feet over people's head over there, it's going to make its way down here, right?
Not necessarily, but maybe they do need to incite panic. Maybe more panic would help. Maybe the more serious people take it because you watch those it's one thing to say, hey, here's what could happen. But when you show it, and you watch those graphics, that will make you evacuate if you're defying an evacuation suggestion, if not an evacuation.
You can make it look as bad as you want. There's always going to be that guy and those people who stay by their home, who stay by their business, who sit in front of their favorite bar and refuse to leave. There's always going to be those people.
You guys are Miami. I'm New Orleans, so I know the drill. Some people are going to always stay for sure.
Well, I mean, as you see weather attacking sporting events, if you want to panic, just read some of what's being written by scientists about what's going to happen to Seattle and Miami in a few years, where both of them are just going to drift off into the sea. I think Seattle newspaper won a Pulitzer by explaining that, all of Seattle is going to drift out to sea soon.
Meanwhile, we keep just building more and more high-rises.
That's right. We forget the reason that nothing was ever built out here is because the hurricanes come straight in off the water. We just forgot. Now we've turned the Scarface Hotel into a CVS.
How long from now is this going to happen? What are they saying? Like a couple of years?
No, it's not a couple of years.
Studio closer to my house pretty soon.
You're safe. You'll be all right.
No, I want it to happen.
Do you guys, he wants the destruction of South Florida. That's what he just rooted for. And let's end the segment that way. Stugotz will be apologizing next segment.
That is Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network.
To recap his workday, he's been paid for this, has been reading fifth-round picks and then wishing for the destruction of South Florida to a hurricane so that the show could be closer to where he lives in Jacksonville.
No Miami, no Ultra.
Don Le Batard.
He is now eating it out of my hand like a grazing animal of some sort. Oh, he is showing love. Oh, eat the picture. Yes.
Swallow?
No, he's not going to swallow that.
Stugotz.
What just happened there?
I finished.
You just threw out a slobbered piece of my face on the floor.
That was just a slobbered piece.
I got a weak stomach, man.
Tear me off half of that, Stu. I want to get involved.
Oh, no.
There's no way you can do
kidding.
It. The fact that you're holding it.
I think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
If he eats that piece of it.
I already ate the piece of it.
If he eats that piece of it. If he eats it.
I will vomit.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Michael Smith in with us. Did Adrian Wojnarowski break the Lee Jenkins news, or did Lee Jenkins break the Lee Jenkins
That's
news?
That's a great question. I think it was Woj.
It was Woj. All right, this is from Adrian Wojnarowski. He says Lee Jenkins, the author of the LeBron James I'm Coming Home article, and he's just an exceptional basketball reporter. He writes very well about basketball. He's agreed to join the LA Clippers front office. According to league sources, his title will be Executive Director of Research and Identity. Hell is that?
What's he researching? I mean,
how to get Kawhi Leonard. Good for the Clippers. Great for him. Sucks for us for all the reasons you laid out, Dan. Even though numbers have come to the forefront of all the sports, really, but the NBA in particular, when it comes to scouting and team construction and that sort of thing, at the end of the day, like all businesses, it's a people business. This guy knows people. And again, one of the people, I'm not saying this is why they hired him specifically.
It's a weird job title. Executive Director of Research and Identity.
But one of the people whose identity he seemed to have captured exceptionally well, better than anybody I've ever seen write on this individual, is Kawhi Leonard. If the Clippers would fire Bruce Bowen for criticizing Kawhi Leonard when Kawhi Leonard doesn't play for them yet, they would certainly think out of the box and figure out not only Kawhi, but how can we better tap into what makes these guys tick? Lee Jenkins seems to get in the heads of these players and these athletes and these subjects that he writes about as well, if not better than anybody else doing it. So I like it. Like, if you're the Clippers, and no matter how much money Steve Ballmer has thrown at the organization, or how successful you were, or moderately successful, relatively successful you were during the Lob City era, you stop at nothing to try to, if possible, narrow. You're never going to close it, but narrow the gap between you and the Lakers in terms of prestige and attractiveness to free agents.
Kawhi does that,
yeah. And so now you get a guy like Lee Jenkins, and who knows who else they're going to tap into to try to say, hey, how can we better make ourselves more attractive to people like Kawhi Leonard?
It seems odd that Lee Jenkins would give you an upper leg on getting Kawhi Leonard, though. It does.
And I don't want to reduce his job to just that. I don't want to make it seem like, they're hiring somebody. They'll hire a coach who, has a relationship with a player in his AAU days to see if that gets him an in to the player when they're really not going to help the organization. I'm sure Lee Jenkins will be of greater help to the Clippers than simply, hey, give us a smaller percentage chance or a greater percentage chance of getting Kawhi Leonard. But I'm sure that has something to do with it.
I remember when we were introduced to Steve Ballmer, he had this event. This was before sports. It was before Clippers. He had this event where he came out breathless and excited. We'll find that clip for you because Lord knows we played it enough. But men like that. Think of Steve Ballmer probably in some ways fancies himself a Jobs type, a Steve Jobs type. When you put that person in a place where he can't fix things by having more money because it's salary capped and everyone's got the same rules, so he can't have an advantage. This is the kind of place where you go looking for your advantages. When you can't throw money to create advantages, you do it like this. You can't imagine that Steve Ballmer is going to pay $2 billion for that franchise and then sit it out on pioneering when it comes to trying to, like, Nick Saban pays his strength coach and just has the most giant staff because he can. Because it's a place in college football, there are no rules on what he's paying his assistants, so he can make his coordinators millionaires. I don't know what Ballmer is paying for Lee Jenkins, but I do know that Ballmer's not going to just sit there for $2 billion and not try and look for some places where he could get some advantages. And the place you get advantages because the Memphis.
But who knew that Lee Jenkins gives you an advantage?
I know, but Memphis tried this with John Hollinger. And they don't have players to do it with John Hollinger, so they got the stats nerd from ESPN.
Yeah, but this is different. This is a guy that does profiles.
This is feelings.
It's people, though.
He's the executive director in charge of feelings.
I mean, can it hurt? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why not? You know, to Dan's point, like, why not? Any advantage you can get in terms of information of any kind, insider information, you pursue it. And he certainly got the money to do it. And from Lee Jenkins' standpoint, it's a dream come true. I mean, Mike, you over there protecting fifth-round picks. You got general manager written all over you. So if somebody called you right now and say, hey, I know you love Batard Show, would you come and be our director of fifth-round picks? Your job is just to find fifth-round pick Jim.
Oh, you have found the job that steals Mike
But that's
away.
a real job that's having an impact on the team. Like Lee Jenkins just sitting around waiting for Kawhi Leonard to become a free agent.
I think he's doing more than that.
I take the job.
I just want the fifth-round pick.
Get the first and fourth.
Just give me that.
Just the fifth.
But how much money? If this is not a stinging indictment of the magazine business and just the written word, Lee Jenkins is as good as anyone doing this, and I'm sure Ballmer just
He's your favorite writer's favorite writer.
I mean, he's great, and he just quit his job covering the NBA to go work for an organization that the thing we know about them is that they lost their owner because he was racist.
Yeah, but why not though? I would do that.
Would you?
Absolutely. Like, look, Lee Jenkins could always go back to writing when he wants to. He's already reached the pinnacle of the profession. He gets to now see the NBA through a different lens. He gets to sit on the other side of the table. I'd absolutely do that. There's no downside to that.
I
think paid a lot, too,
I think John Hollinger wants back for ESPN.com. Like, you don't want to be sitting there in Memphis right now. I understand what you're saying. The challenge of it is exciting, but if you don't get players, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't end up there,
Jenkins is fired.
All you are.
He still knows how to write.
That's right.
You're not going to be doing segments about, this just in, Lee Jenkins fired. Like, he still can come back and write any day of the week.
Perhaps you don't think of Ballmer as a pioneering genius. This was our introduction to him. This is the first time any of us around here had even heard his name.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer!
I have 4 words for you. I love this company. Yes!
I want you guys to step back from that for just a second and absorb this. You paid $2 billion. You come into that experience with that enthusiasm. The crosstown team gets LeBron James. You counter with Lee Jenkins.
4 words for you. I love Lee Jenkins.
Oh, my God. Howard Dean's like, chill out, man. A little too animated there.
$2 billion. And, of course, like, what are the Clippers going to get? They had the fight over DeAndre Jordan, and then all of a sudden they didn't want him anymore. They got rid of Blake Griffin. They can't keep Chris Paul. Who the hell plays for the Clippers?
At the very least, they better find out who the hell they are.
They're going to find out who their identity is. They've hired Lee Jenkins to help them with it.
He's directing all the research.
What is their identity? They used to be racist. What is the Clipper identity?
I mean, historically, it's losers, and then it became
losers who used
exciting,
to be racist.
disappointing losers, and then it was, racist, and now it's
middle of the road.
Lee Jenkins.
Borderline lottery.
Let's play for Michael Smith and the audience the reason Steve Ballmer has this team, because Donald Sterling was making a run, and he got in. This was one of the most amazing controversies of my lifetime, not just because an owner lost his team over it. It's because he was so oblivious at the trouble that he was in that he decided that going on CNN and doing an interview with Anderson Cooper in which he did this as part of his rehab tour was a good idea.
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, yes, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS. Did he do any business? Did he help anybody in South L.A.?
Well, I think he has HIV. He doesn't actually have full-blown AIDS. But.
Michael, your head fell in your hands. That is the wrong reaction. You have to again listen to it. It's the only time AIDS has ever been funny in any context. It's when Donald Sterling spits it as part of his rehab tour.
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, yes, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
It's just aggressive. It's unnecessarily aggressive.
He didn't even let Anderson finish. What did he do? Well, he's a business person.
He would not let him list one.
They let him get to the championships. They let him get to ownership.
I want you to imagine the publicist who's like, this is a good idea. I know this is a good idea. And then we arrive at the middle of the interview, and this is spit.
What's he done?
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, yes, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
There it is. Yeah. Very good.
Anderson was just getting started.
And at that moment right there, Adam Silver said, okay, that's enough.
He had been sitting on that one for a while. I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a minute about
that's right.
Magic.
And Adam Silver's like, okay, we'll take your team.
Oh, God.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ad's better. Go, somebody.
Protect your property from Stugotz getting his grubby little hands on anything you own. Blink cameras will help you. Be careful. Stugotz is out there. He wants your stuff. Don't let him take it. Blink will help you.
Imagine this is you. You are working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window.
Hold on a second. We got breaking football news.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Schefter bomb. He retweets Ed Bouchette, and we find out Antonio Brown did not show up for work on Monday.
Oh,
it's falling apart. By the way, Le'Veon Bell was at Rockwell across the street last night promoting his album. Album release party for Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown not showing up for work.
Are you pleased because it's breaking news or because you're a Browns fan and just for a moment you want the Steelers to experience some dysfunction?
You identified it.
For just one brief moment, Michael.
They were on your level?
We are not the biggest mess in the AFC North.
You'd still rather be the Steelers.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Don Lebatard.
Dr. Phil was a middle linebacker for Tulsa.
That's not true.
Come on, please. Please tell me
that can't be true. Guillermo,
say it is.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Did you know that Dr. Phil was a middle linebacker for Tulsa?
Stugotz.
What are you doing? You're offsides. Now that's encroachment. Are there any other football terms?
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Michael Smith giving the Straight Talk is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contract.
Well, here's some Straight Talk for you. Michael Smith, nobody went after Vontae Davis on this air the way that Michael Smith did yesterday.
That's an overstatement.
You said it's as lame as anything you've ever seen an athlete do.
It is. For obvious reasons. Of all the players who've ever played, who've ever got the brakes beaten off of them, a lot of them have wanted to quit. A lot of them wanted to leave. He's the first guy to do it. I mean, Lorenzo Alexander, I've never seen it in Pop Warner in high school.
During a game,
just chuck up the deuces and leave. But I'm over being mad, on behalf of the sanctity of the game, which I never played beyond high school myself. Sounded like an ex-athlete or something. I feel bad for him, to be honest with you. I feel badly for Vontae Davis because, like, even if you're not a Hall of Fame caliber player, I mean, he's made a couple of Pro Bowls, I believe, and, had a pretty long career. Even if you're not a Hall of Fame caliber player, you don't get the press conference and you don't get the farewell tour and that sort of thing. Your retirement is supposed to be something special. And it's not going to always happen on your terms. The league may retire you.
You could say this was special, though.
It was memorable for all the wrong reasons, but it's like he's robbed himself of being able to go out on a positive note. Like, even if you walk out in training camp and said, my body's had enough. I mean, Eric Decker was at least able to post on Instagram, I'm done. It was like, okay, cool. He's got to go out and be mocked for quitting in the middle of a game, and the Bills are going to move on and continue to be bad without you, with or without you. I haven't thought about Vontae Davis in years, but now he has to live with this for the rest of his life, or as long as people care about Vontae Davis quitting at halftime.
It's a bit unfair from this standpoint, though. If you decide, because their lives are playing out on TV, we're watching it, right? Uh-huh. If you decide, many people have, I'm certain, hey, I'm done with this job. I can't do it anymore. I'm leaving. I'm getting up in the middle of the day. I'm leaving for lunch, and I ain't ever coming back.
He left mid-shift.
Would you be okay if he did it Saturday?
Yes. If he did it Monday, I would have been okay if he'd have taken himself out of the game and sat on the bench and said, oh, you know what? I don't have it today, guys. I'm here to support you, but this is it for me, or something. Faked an injury. And the only reason I'm passionate about it is because I'm looking at it not as an ex-athlete. Of course, I can't look at it through that lens. I'm looking at it as a straight up professional. There is nothing worse than being let down by the people you're depending on to do your job. And no matter no matter the state of the Bills, Vontae Davis was starting at cornerback for them. So if he was having these feelings and these reservations about continuing to play the game, he could have expressed it at any moment leading up to the game. But to at halftime just decide I'm done, well, that has a ripple effect on the rest of your teammates, no matter how poorly they're performing. That's an expectation, just like we have expectations that each of us is going to do his or her job in order to make the whole thing go.
Guillermo, put on the poll, did all the Bills want to quit at halftime?
I'm sure they did.
They quit before halftime.
They probably quit a long time ago.
That's spoken like a good teammate, though, because that's spoken through your prism, because you sat there next to Jamel with everything that was going on.
Well, and you had to bring that up.
You were the most loyal teammate. There is no circumstance under which that you were going to look for an exit ramp. You were going to be there right next to her.
How long you had that locked and loaded in the chamber, just ready to fight? No, but yes. I do fancy myself, if I may say so myself, as a good teammate. I do believe in being accountable, being supportive to the people around you. So, yeah, that hit home from that standpoint.
Same here, by the way.
I do feel like the Bills will test anybody's good teammate.
How you just going to drop that just like casually? Just okay. Oh, yeah, because you sat there next to him. Okay,
Michael
thanks,
Smith, gone after this segment.
Guys, let's be real. When you look good, you feel good. At the JCPenney wardrobe sale, you can get 50% off select men's suits, separate sport coats, dress pants, and accessories. Plus, select dress shirts, buy one, get one free. Raise your game with Collection by Michael Strahan. All the right looks to take your style to the next level. Also, save an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon, or extra 15% off with any other method of payment. Hurry in. JCPenney. Style and value for all. Pricing and coupon valid 9/13 and 9/23. Credit offer subject to credit approval. Some exclusions and restrictions apply. See store at jcp.com for coupon and details.
If you love scoring amazing hotel deals, you've got to use Hotel Tonight. I've used them. I love them. Forget scrolling through never-ending list of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at cool hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you could book in advance, not just at the last minute. It's perfect for spontaneous weekend getaways, 3-day weekends, staycations, road trips, business trips, booking a place with a pool, and more. Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. To start scoring amazing deals at incredible hotels, go to HotelTonight.com or download the app right now.
Don Le Batard.
I have to have a testicular ultrasound. How does this work What do I have to do with whom? Into the room walks a bear of a man. He's been dealing with testicles for damn near 3 decades. I'm terrified.
Stugotz.
I have to get on my back, throw my legs up in the air. No. Where's my left hand go? Yeah, I need to cup my package. I'm saying to myself as I'm doing this, it can't get worse than this. He looks me straight in the eye for the first time. We're about to get started. And he says, I am such a big fan of your TV and radio shows. Dude, that's the time you choose to tell me that.
But you're laughing?
I am laughing. I'm also mystified. I'm vulnerable. I'm still scared.
It sounds like he had a ball.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you want to talk to Ron Magill, 786-456-4837 is the telephone number. Matt, you're on with Magill. Go ahead.
2-part question. Ron, what's the animal you least like to be trapped in a small room with? And Dan, is that animal for you Stugotz?
You know what? I don't know a dislike. There's a difference between dislike and fear. If you say dislike, the animal I want to be trapped in a room with is a bunch of roaches. I hate roaches. Roaches give me the creep.
That's not what he's asking you, though. He's asking you most dangerous animal is what he's asking.
All right, the most dangerous animal? God, you know, that you get to a level where it's how dead can you get? I mean, that's basically the premise here. You kind of about a tiger, a lion, a rampaging elephant, a hippo. I mean, the question is, to me, it's which one's going to kill you the fastest.
Well, but
you're going to die.
Don't hyena.
Well, you want to die the fastest, right?
Don't
I want to die the
hyena
fastest.
eat
I don't want to feel the pain.
Don't hyena eat you while you're living without killing you?
No, those are wild dogs, African wild dogs. Hyenas can do it too. They are bad, but the wild dogs are the worst, and they make that horrible sound. So so do hyenas for that matter. It's like all hell is breaking loose, and they kind of rip your intestines out while you're still alive and you're breathing and you're screaming and stuff. So that's awful. Yeah, I would rather go with something that's really fast. So I would go like with a king cobra. It's a bite, boom. You go into cardiac and respiratory arrest, and you're dead. I don't want to be ripped apart and eaten, torn apart. That's kind of gross.
How fast does that happen with a king cobra?
If it gives you a full bite, it would probably be within 20 minutes. You know, I mean, you'd go down faster than that, but you'd be dead in 20 minutes with a full bite.
It's a bad 20 minutes.
But there's nothing faster? I mean...
It's a bad 20 minutes.
Well, sure. You know, if you got a lion, and a lion immediately got you right behind the neck and snapped your neck, but you gotta try to hope for that to happen. You know, it might grab you in your leg and scratch your intestines out. It may do all kinds of things before you finally die. Now, if it goes right for the back of the neck, boom, that's fast. It's over. I would go for that. But you can't predict how that animal is going to get you. You know what I mean? Snake bite, it's a snake bite.
Is there anything that could bite me, Ron, and I die instantly? That's it.
Pretty much anything. A gecko would bite you and you die instantly because you have a heart attack because you're such a wimp.
That's right.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
Will, you're on with Ron Magill. Go ahead. I mean, he called he went to the hospital when a lizard fell on him on a ladder, and then he fell off the ladder, and he also called 911 on a frog.
I did.
We're not making that up. That's a thing that happened.
Wait, it was a bullfrog, and I fell off the ladder trying to get the lizard.
Regardless, a lizard is required a hospitalization, and you called the police
and a 911 call
on a bullfrog.
Yep.
That's frightening.
It was big.
Will, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Will.
Hey, Ron. So I recently saw a video of a guy feeding an alligator by hand and petting the alligator as well. My question for you is, if a guy is doing that, does he have to sound like Ed Orgeron?
I saw that video.
Doing that what?
I saw that video. Does he have to sound like Ed Orgeron? Does he have to sound Cajun? But did you see that video of a guy just feeding alligators by hand?
I see it all the time. People do that all the time, especially these show alligators that they have in a lot of these parks. You know, these alligators become acclimated and habituated to people. They get habituated to being fed that way. I see people tap them on the top of their snout when they do it. All kinds of things. You know, don't compare these show alligators that you see in these tourist attractions to an alligator you'll come across in the wild, because it's a totally different situation, guys. This is so misleading, and I think it's so dangerous when people look at this like, oh, look at this. Oh, look, he's putting the alligator under his chin. He's opening his mouth. He's standing on top of the alligator, and now he's petting it, and the alligator's not doing anything. Try to do that with a wild alligator, it's going to take your face off, okay? So understand that these animals are habituated. They're not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. A 9-foot alligator has a brain the size of a walnut, okay? But it can become habituated to getting food, to being treated a certain way. That's not to say you should go out there and do that. So yes, you don't have to be Cajun. You just have to be with an alligator that's been in a show for 20 years and has been just basically bored into that existence.
Ron, I'm fascinated with the invasive species in the Everglades, and it seems as though the python is the top of the food chain, and it's this weird hybrid python that could live in wetlands, but also it has this Indian python in it that allows it to go to drier areas. And I read an article that said it might start moving out because of the overpopulation there into even drier areas, perhaps populated areas. What are we doing in terms of death task forces to kill all of these things?
Well, the Everglades National Park has actually relaxed a lot of its sanctions on hunting within the park. They now have exceptions for certain hunters who go into the park to get these pythons whenever possible. They have these constant python hunts. I will tell you that they're never going to totally remove these animals. These hunts are basically a way to raise awareness about the pythons and also to try to manage the populations. They've got these Judas pythons where they take a female and they put a transmitter in her and they go out. And they let her go out. So they follow her because what the females do when they get ready to breed, they release pheromones. And every male python in the neighborhood is going to come find her. So they wait for all the pythons to come and find her, and then they grab those male pythons and they kill them. Okay, so they use her as bait by using that transmitter. So there's all kinds of programs going on to try to eliminate or control these pythons. What you're hearing about is these Indian pythons now crossbreeding with the African rock pythons, and they're coming up with this super subspecies of python that supposedly, a lot of that is hype. There's certainly some credibility to it, but most of it is hype, the kind of thing that Le Batard will do to scare people.
We are running out of time, and we have a lot of callers here, so let's see if we can speed up the callers. Chris, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Ron, I pulled up to an oil well the other day, and a 6-foot bull snake was wrapped around a hawk, just choking the life out of it. Does that happen very often?
No, that doesn't happen very often at all. That hawk must have been really off of its game because it's very rare that you'll see snakes take over a bird of prey unless that hawk came down to try to get the snake, and all of a sudden the snake got a hold of the hawk, and the hawk lost the battle.
Feel terrible for Andre Dawson.
Mike, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Mike. Why can't you feel good for Jake Plummer?
Why have I never seen a baby squirrel?
Why has he never seen a baby squirrel?
Because they have their babies up in nests in trees. They basically make this kind of a big leaf nest and have their babies in trees, and once the babies are big enough to get out, they look like miniature squirrels. What the hell? What happened? Did I do something wrong?
He's still laughing at my Jake Plummer jokes. Gene, you're on. You're on. I was going to go like Kenny Stabler. I thought it was too old. Gene, you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead.
Magill, let's get one thing straight. A couple of months ago, you told the fine listeners of this program that 40 Harley races couldn't beat a rhinoceros. It only takes one Harley race to beat any flea-bitten rhinoceros or put a giraffe in a headlock. That is a fact.
That's a truth statement. That is truth, sir.
Well, you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid, aren't you? You're drinking the Kool-Aid, guys. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. All right? Not going to happen.
Apologize to Harley Race. Apologize to him.
Yeah, I'm apologizing to him for not putting him in a situation where he'd have to prove that point because he'd be dead.
David, you're on with a blaspheming Ron Magill. Doesn't understand how great Harley Race was. David, you're on with Magill. Go ahead.
Ron, I heard that, or I read that sloths are excellent swimmers. I was wondering what other animals in the kingdom might surprise the listeners that are great swimmers.
Thank you for speeding it up, sir.
Oh, he's talking about sloths. Yeah, sloths are incredible swimmers. That's true. Snakes are incredible swimmers. They really are. Most animals can swim fairly well, but snakes, sloths, these are people, animals that people would not normally think are great swimmers.
Gil, you're on with Magill. Go ahead, Gil.
Hey, Ron Magill, big-time fan of yours. I'm just wondering, in animal sports, what would be the best running back? An orangutan or, oh, my God, I forgot the other one. An orangutan or a chimpanzee?
Oh, definitely going to be a chimpanzee. Orangutan's very slow. It's got long arms. It'd be good to be like a defensive end or something like that because you could grab it with the long arms, but they can't run very fast at all. Chimps are much closer to human beings, so they'd be a much faster, much more coordinated, much faster animal.
Ron, in the Miami Herald last week, Greg Cody reported that Dan Le Batard, formerly of the Miami Herald, got engaged, and he name-dropped you specifically as someone who knew all about this and
Paul,
helped arrange
you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Paul.
Look, let me tell you something.
Ron, my question was, I've heard that there's 3 mammals in the animal kingdom that don't have nipples. Would you happen to know what they are?
That's a great question, Paul.
That is a great question. I thank you, Paul, for changing the conversation. The three mammals who don't have nipples are who, Ron?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a platypus and echidna. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that one up myself. But anyway, I did not give away that thing about that proposal. I just want to make that very clear on the air, because I was when I saw that, Cody screwed up big time, man.
Dan,
Cody
you're on with Ron Magill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Dan.
Trust there. That was a huge trust that was broken.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Ron, question for you. Lightning bugs, what exactly in them lights up, and what's the purpose?
It's a chemical reaction. I don't know. Well, the purpose is to attract females. Listen, at the end of the day, anything that lights up or gets very showy, it's always to attract females. And that's basically what they do. It's a social communication between the individuals, either for breeding or courtship or just for congregating together. But that's what it's basically for. And it's some kind of chemical reaction. I don't know exactly how it goes.
Kind of like an engagement ring, right?
No, let me tell you something. Guys, I really feel bad about that, but he trusted me there, and I thought that he thought I broke that trust. When I saw it in the paper, I go, oh, my God. I called my wife. I said, did you say anything about that thing about Dan? I was so panicked about this whole thing, because Dan's a private kind of guy. So when this got out, I was like, oh, he's gonna think I broke the trust. It was a sacred trust. I took it very seriously. So that panicked me, man. I couldn't believe it. Cody's a jerk. I couldn't believe he did that.
That's why we've suspended him, and that's why he'll probably be fired soon. Let's go ahead and update the video. We're going to go ahead and do play-by-play on a video. Let's get.
Tell me when.
Update a video. It's fine.
Okay, why don't you call him Ray again?
I don't think they call him Ray. They call him a combination of Mike and Ron.
You said right, Ray, and then you had an aneurysm. Go ahead. What do you got on your video, Ron?
All right, I'm playing the thing. Okay, we got a little katydid here. Something's going to eat this for sure. I'm positive that's what it is. A little katydid like a grasshopper's on a stick. Well, this is kind of boring. Oh, what is it? It's a galago? No, it's a tarsier. Tarsier just grabbed that thing and that just jumped off. That's it. That's the whole video. It's just repeating now.
That's an amazing little monkey thing that just ate an insect. What the hell was that?
I'm going to give you some interesting facts. I know the suits at ESPN are going to be a little nervous when I say this, but other than human beings, the tarsier is the only other primate that actually does not have a bone in its penis. That's a very interesting fact. You could win a Jeopardy question on that one. Oh, God, I'm in trouble. Okay, I guess I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Don Le Batard.
The one John Fogerty song. Do you call it Center Field or Put Me in Coach?
When he died, this is the only song I knew that he did. I was sad. I was like, I'll never see him sing it live.
Stugotz.
John Fogerty was just on the show. I don't think he died. Billy just, killed him.
He's alive. That's fine.
He was just on the show 2 weeks ago.
Wait a minute. He was on whose show 2 weeks ago?
This show. With Greg Cody.
It is that.
I'm telling you, this is a Hispanic song.
You feel it,
Guillermo? I have a direct and pointed question for you. Why did you kill John Fogerty?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
If you missed any of the show, you can listen to all 3 hours of the Dan Le Batard Show on demand in the ESPN app, plus our Miami-only hour that airs before the show, and now you can subscribe to our Best of Podcasts. It's all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app. Junior Seau, an NFL legend, was a force of nature on the field, but he was also electric off the field. The new 30 for 30 film Seau, directed by Kirby Bradley, tells a story that stats can't. A searing and revealing portrait of the Hall of Famer's life and death. Seau is a tale of one of modern football's icons with a tragic end still reverberating through the sports world. Seau will be available exclusively on ESPN Plus starting Thursday, September 20th.
So they're putting a 30 for 30 essentially on ESPN Plus. It's not something you can't see a Junior Seau 30 for 30 on television. It's only on ESPN Plus?
I believe this is only on ESPN Plus. I also think it's the second one they've done. I think the one on Bobby Knight was also on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, the entire 30 for 30 archive will be made available on ESPN Plus.
Well, ESPN has put out its Week 3 power rankings.
Yeah, big day.
Texter is complaining that the Pittsburgh Steelers are at 10 and the Tampa Bay Bucks are nowhere on the list. Does ESPN watch football at all? No, sir. We just all wing it. We're all doing it fakery style. So they've got Tampa Bay not in the top 10, Pittsburgh still in the top 10. We'll get to Stugotz's power rankings in a second because they're important. Mm-hmm. But the Steelers, there is a lot of stuff happening around the Steelers. Le'Veon Bell was at Rockwell last night. And this is what I'm telling you. Anybody who goes to Rockwell on Monday night in South Florida, that is a person who's not interested in playing football. That is, anybody doing that is interested. He was promoting his new album. He's got a new album out. And so Le'Veon Bell has been roaming all over Miami. He's been here. It's like Paul Pierce after he won the championship. He ended up spending 3 months in Vegas in a bathrobe, just getting massages 24 hours a day. Le'Veon Bell is sort of doing the same thing down here while hosting record release parties.
Yeah, you can't accuse him of not wanting to go to work if he's at Rockwell, because he was working. He was promoting a new album. It was an album release. He was on the job.
I didn't say that he didn't have any interest in work. I said that he had no interest in football. That the person who put it on the poll, Guillermo, if you're in a South Florida club Monday night after midnight, do you have any interest in football? So that's what's happening with Le'Veon Bell. But this is what I want to ask you. Bill Simmons tweeted out, he is a Boston fan. Bill Simmons tweeted out, ugh, at about the time Josh Gordon went to the Patriots. Are there still people doing that? That they think the character risk is going to upset a culture? Because I need to remind you, if that is what Bill Simmons is responding to, this team survived a murderer in the huddle. Like, this culture is not, it's not capable of being contaminated by anything. They survived a murderer in their huddle.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo and maybe a doctor roaming the sidelines. But other than that, you're right. Yeah.
They still made a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to upset the culture in New England.
They didn't win it.
Did they win it the year that he got caught murdering people? Did they win it the same year?
I'm not certain. I'll check on it. There's a good chance, like a 50% chance that they did.
It's not quite 50%, but if what I'm saying is true, can't we just end the idea that someone might be a distraction for the Patriots? Ocho Cinco went there and didn't do anything, well, on the field or publicly.
Right.
He didn't get in any trouble there. Randy Moss played there. No problems. Zero.
Nope. No problems. Tom Brady's best season.
Corey Dillon played there. No problems.
They've had no problems for the most part.
But even when they have a murderer, they've got no problems. Like, even when they've got when they're...
You're right. Yeah.
It took him a minute. He got Aaron Hernandez was arrested in 2013 from this article that I'm looking at. The Ravens won that year, then the Broncos, then the Patriots. It took him a few years to shake that.
They were able to shake that after only a couple of years. They didn't win anything while he was on trial for murder. That trial lasted a while.
It did, yep. Rough period in Patriot history, I mean,
it did win again in 2017.
Right.
So that was the period where Wes Welker never won a Super Bowl, even though he played with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady?
Well, he dropped that pass.
Sugar Ray Leonard next.
Don Le Batard.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Are you disturbed at all that Stugotz thinks extortion and blackmail are normal business practices?
Stugotz.
It has to drive you crazy because you are smart, you are well thought out, you are reasonable, you are balanced, and I just come in with blackmail, COB.
And they love you more.
Yep, spot on.
And I'm so envious. I want their love.
You're not going to get it.
Their love's important to me. I want the love of dumb people.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
You know this name, Sugar Ray Leonard. You can see him this Saturday, the broadcast of the Joshua Povetkin fight. It's live streaming on DAZN. If you want more information, DAZN.com. It's DAZN, D-A-Zone. Sugar Ray Leonard with us now on ESPN Radio. Stugotz proclaimed boxing dead yesterday while arguing with Teddy Atlas. Sugar Ray Leonard has been hearing this for a while. You care to take up this argument with him, Stugotz?
Sure. Well, Sugar Ray, do you agree with me? I think boxing is dead. Let's start there.
But, Stu, boxing is not dead. I mean, did you see that fight? I think it was with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and like other guys from
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Conor McGregor.
That was the best fight we've seen in a decade, which is exactly, Sugar Ray, why boxing is dead.
Man. Come on, man.
No, Stu, that's not necessarily true. Boxing, it takes its lumps, it takes its bumps here and there, but there's always some great fighter on the horizon that's going to take over.
Sugar Ray, can I just say this? Because growing up in the 80s and the 90s, I will tell you, like, you had the heavyweight division, and you had Tyson, and you had Foreman, and you had Holyfield, but really your division where you had Duran, and you had Hagler, and you had Hearns, and yourself, and, like, you know, whoever won those matches, like, if Duran fought Hagler, what was waiting for him was Sugar Ray Leonard, perhaps the greatest boxer ever.
That was a great time.
That's what I love boxing. We don't have that anymore. We have the same couple of fights, Sugar Ray.
You must be so tired of this conversation, Sugar Ray.
No, actually I'm not, because this is what made me who I am. The fact of the matter, it was, there was always like you're right, there was always someone on the horizon. They say, well, who's going to be the next champ? Who's going to be the welterweight champ? Who's going to be the middleweight champ or heavyweight champ? There was always an abundance of talent.
The Joshua Wilder fight would be the biggest since blank, Sugar Ray. Like, if that fight, when you got the big boys throwing punches, that becomes a different thing, and I feel like everybody is waiting for that fight.
Well, you know, especially when they're household names, I think that is the significance of the big fights back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. There was always those fighters that the fight fans highly anticipated, confronting each other, fighting each other. And you have one big name, but you don't have the other guy has a household name.
You're the godfather to Khloe Kardashian. Are you involved? Like, that world is crazy. It seems crazy from over here.
Hey, I'm learning slowly but surely, even with my kids. My teenager, my son Daniel, who's 17. I got 4 kids. You know, my daughter is 21. My other son's 33, and little Ray, is 43. So I'm a grandfather.
I know, but what does a grandfather make of the Kardashian situation? Like, it's this is an unusual thing to have happening in America, where a family they're sort of our royal family.
Well, you know what? It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, and you know what? I've known the Kardashians, those kids, from day one, and they are my grandkids.
Okay, so they are sent. And so, what do you make of what's happening with them in America right now, where they are at the height of fame?
I'm happy for them. Are we talking boxing guys or what?
Oh, you didn't want to talk about that. See, I didn't realize that. Is that?
But he's right. It's opportunity. He's their grandfather. It's opportunity. They're making a ton of money, and like any grandfather, he's happy because he doesn't give them any money anymore.
Hey, Stu, how tall are you?
I am. I'm 5'8" on a good day.
I want to see you, man.
Oh, he's threatening a fight with you. Is he threatening a fight?
Absolutely.
Oh,
wait, no, Sugar Ray, I didn't ask the Kardashian question.
Yes, he's a grandfather, and you said boxing was dead, and then you asked those damn Kardashian questions that have upset him so much.
Right, but you're right. All right. How tall are you, Sugar Ray?
I'm a shot.
You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. Your grandfather, Sugar Ray, will put some lumps in your head for talking way about the Kardashians.
Guys, I'm drinking coffee right now, so I'm revved up, okay?
All right, no problem. The broadcast.
Get away from the Kardashians.
Joshua Povetkin, the fight is live streaming on DAZN. For more information, go to DAZN.com. But I've got one more non-boxing question. How did you meet your wife? Who introduced you to your wife?
Kenny G.
That's just great.
Man.
Kenny G.
It really is. It's so
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it was at Luther Vandross concert, and he said, Ray, this young lady I'm with, with because he wasn't married at the time to Lindy. And he introduced us, and I was actually going through my own divorce and separation. And I said, I was like, no more relationships, no more kids. He introduced me, and now I have more kids, and I'm married, but I'm happy, though. Thanks, Kenny.
That is the height of romance right there, at a Luther Vandross concert introduced by Kenny G.
It was meant to be. It was predestined. It was meant to be.
Did Sugar Ray Leonard find the result of Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, unsatisfying?
It was extremely close. Then it becomes subjective, because I think that depends on who you ask. I could, if the fight had went either way, I would have accepted that. But then that makes a setup for another fight.
But Teddy Atlas
What did you think?
Well,
What did you think?
Teddy Atlas said it was a good fight, but Teddy Atlas was on with us yesterday, and he's just basically claiming corruption, that this is the fight that the business of boxing needed. That's the result they needed, so that's the one they got, and they were going to get that result no matter what happened in the fight.
The fight's this close. I'm subjected to this kind of talk because my fight with Hagler, even to this day, they say, well, Hagler he was aggressive, but was it effective aggressiveness? I mean, that, again, depends on who you ask. I'm not just trying to get away from this, but it's just what it is.
Again, you could listen to Sugar Ray, DAZN.com, Joshua Pavetkin. It is live streaming on DAZN. You could check it out again on DAZN.com.
I mean, Hagler won that fight, right?
What?
Well, who said that?
What? Who said that?
Uh-oh. I can't wait to see you.
Sugar Ray, I can't. All right, hold on. Let's escalate this. He's been saying this for years, Sugar Ray, that Hagler won that fight. He's been saying it for years. He was more aggressive.
I can't believe he's not 5'9", and he's talking this trash.
He is so small. 5'8" on a good day is such bull bleep. Sugar Ray, we appreciate the time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
All right.
Let's go. My private jet isn't going to fuel itself.
I wish you'd stopped pressing on those Kardashian questions.
Go to hell, all right? Say hi to Art Briles when you get there.
Capital One Quicksilver card will get you cash back on the things that you buy. That's right. You heard me. Cash back. What? Finally, it happens to you. I got Warren Savage and Shaquille O'Neal chasing me through life. You got tiny grandfather Sugar Ray Leonard.
And you have Dick Vitale.
Dick Vitale as well. Finally, it happens to you there. Now you know how it feels.
That's a bad man, though, Sugar Ray.
I mean, he's a grandfather. He's very small.
But he lost to Hagler. I mean, marvelous Marvin Hagler. Are you kidding me? You saw that fight, Dan, right? You remember it? I remember it like it was yesterday. Hagler won that thing, man. The fact that it was as close as it was is an absolute disgrace.
Dan Le Batard.
Good work today. That was a fun show.
Stugotz.
It was also intergalactically stupid.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz says we've got good dueling stats of the day, even though we've already done stat of the day. We've got, many of you are disappointed today because Greg Cody's not here. You were hoping that things would escalate after he betrayed me last week and reported in the Miami Herald a secret that I did not want reported by him, but we've banished him for the moment until I cool off. In the interim, let's do stat of the day.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
Courtesy of SB Nation, Dan, the Raiders defense through 2 games. 1 interception, no touchdowns, 1 forced fumble, no fumble recoveries, 2 sacks, 0 wins. Khalil Mack through 2 games. 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, 1 win.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I've got one. Courtesy of Football Outsider Scott Kaxmer. Since 1940, NFL teams scoring 37-plus points at home with 0 turnovers were 386-0. The Steelers lost.
Really? That tells you right there that Kansas City might be a team that you think of differently than you've thought of before, because they just beat the Steelers at maximum Steelers, even with Le'Veon Bell not there. That is the Steelers playing well, and it didn't do them any good.
Weird couple of weeks for the Steelers, though, because they had 0 turnovers, scored 37 points, and found a way to be the first team in NFL history at home to lose that game. Yet last week they had 6 turnovers and didn't lose.
That's funny. Go ahead and update the polls, Stugotz, would you please?
Yep, the Twitter poll at Le Batard Show is brought to you by JCPenney. Dress the part without spending a ton. Save 50% on select suits at the JCPenney men's wardrobe sale. JCPenney, style and value for all. Again, at Le Batard Show on Twitter. Do the Patriots win because they are smart or because everyone else is dumb? 78% of the audience said everyone else is dumb. Should someone be banned from never-ending sushi? Guys, never happened before.
I refuse.
Never happened before.
I will not take a part.
Again, should someone be banned from never-ending sushi?
It's got to be a typo. It's got to be a typo.
This has never happened before.
Not take part in this. This is absurd, and you're
Listen.
to me. No.
I'll just deliver the news. 50% of the audience said yes.
That's not true.
50% of the audience said no.
No!
How about that?
No!
I know. First time for any.
Not looking at you.
Has Deshaun Jackson been open for 12 years? He really has. 89% of the audience said yes.
Wow.
Are you surprised at all? The only thing Andrew Luck wants for his birthday is a good, tough practice. 76% of the audience said no. Is it true that the Orioles will never actually fire Buck Showalter? 91% of the audience said yes. Did all the Bills want to quit at halftime? 97% of the audience said yes.
Yeah.
Is Bezos trying to eliminate people?
He is.
94% of the audience agrees. If you're in a South Florida club on a Monday night after midnight, do you have any interest in football? 90% of the audience said no. Those are the polls.
That's actually not fair because Monday is usually the day before the off day. They usually get the bye day on Tuesday. So Monday night is actually a night where you could be in the club. But Le'Veon, every day is a bye day right now. Every day is an off day for Le'Veon Bell. Mike, what's that trophy that ESPN sent down here? We are a collection plate for all useless trophies. What's this trophy they sent down here?
So news of what Greg reported in the Miami Herald about your private situation that you don't want us to disclose, right? Spread like wildfire up in the Bristol campus, and they got very excited, to which they wanted to reward Greg Cody for his outstanding journalism, and they mailed me yet another oversized trophy that I don't want in my house. It's now buried in my garage. I was hoping to give it to Greg Cody today because it is the Scoop of the Year trophy. It even has an ice cream scoop atop of it. It is opulent, and he'd be so excited to bury this in his garage for another 50 years.
Very excited. I've been calling him Scoops Cody lately. I mean, he deserves this, man. He's very deserving. That's the biggest scoop of the year so far. It is.
He's a hero.
Yeah.
Should we do the symbolic, metaphorical trophy ceremony right now? Let's call Greg Cody real quick here. Get him on the phone and give his trophy to him. Sort of, it's a visual. It's not a visual medium. It's an audio medium.
Let him make an acceptance speech. Yeah.
Yes, a true hero's welcome for Greg Cody, ESPN's 2018 Scoop of the Year winner.